Now on to this. President Cyril Ramaphosa spokesperson Vincent Magwenya has been giving an update on the president's public program. Let's cross now to our senior reporter. Aviwe Mtila was in that crossing and had to throw quite a few questions at the spokesperson of the presidency this afternoon, because at some stage it just wasn't giving us the clarity that the gathered media so desperately wanted, specifically, Aviwe, around this cabinet reshuffle that we've been waiting for with bated breath.
Well, it's in a matter of days, is what we heard from the presidency. In fact, we're told to look out for a media alert and be on standby for that. That will tell you that, in fact, it can happen anytime soon. It reminds me of a conversation I had with one of the ANC members that told me any time is tea time. So, of course, we do know there are a number of vacancies. Former Deputy President David Mabuza handing in his resignation, both to the ANC Chief Whip yesterday, as well as the Speaker of Parliament, Nosfeo Mapisang. So we do know he's officially resigned, and President Ramaphosa has accepted that resignation. He did, of course, allude to it earlier on, we do understand, in the year, even the President mentioning that on the 16th of February, and his reply to the SONA debate, and also thanking him there. That was done once more, thanking David Mabuza, and we're just told that that announcement now, of course, is imminent. A word that we've heard a lot of time, but not clear as yet. A lot of vacancies, of course, around also the Minister of Electricity. That was announced on the 9th of February. Now we're in March, and of course it will talk to the urgency, or the lack of, if I can put it that way, given that we are in a state of disaster, but no one to steer the sheep when it comes to that much weighted Minister of Electricity in the prison. In fact, I want you to take a listen to the presidency spokesperson, Vincent Magwenya, just on the developments around the cabinet reshuffle and how soon we can then expect that.
When is the president going to announce the Minister of Electricity? You know, Aviwe, that there are vacancies in cabinet. We also now have a vacancy in the role of a deputy president. And so there is a sense of agency that the president fills those vacancies as soon as possible. So in a matter of days, that announcement will be made. So I will say to you, be on standby and look out for my advisory alerting you to the announcement.
And Aviwe, we can only hope that that advisory doesn't come out around midnight, which has become the norm over the last few years. Now, the president has been in the news for various reasons today, in leading up to this briefing today. One of them being that Apex Court dismissing the president's bid to challenge Parliament's report into the Phala Phala saga, which of course made adverse findings against him. The presidency spokesperson was pulsed on that, and he was quite straight on the matter, saying that the presidency is rejecting the flawed assertion that the president is taking Parliament to court. What he's taking to court is the flawed report. What more did he have to say on the matter?
Yes, that's the exact sentiment. It's not a blow to the president in any way. It's more looking at the procedural issues around that application more than the actual merits of the case. So we do now know that President Cyril Ramaphosa will be advised, while the legal team in itself will be going to the back room, looking at what legal options they can do, and then they'll take that decision going forward. Not the only matter that we heard inside, also that interview that my colleague Annika Larson did with the now gone CEO of Eskom, Andre de Ruyter, came up inside in those conversations, and we were told that Andre de Ruyter has to go to the police and lay these charges officially. But I had to pose those questions, especially given that we're expecting this cabinet reshuffle, and we know that that said minister around these allegations is in cabinet at that moment. So it would be quite telling if the president didn't go to Andre de Ruyter and find out who the exact minister is around these allegations, so that he's not appointed in the very cabinet that we're expecting. But we're told, no, that's not the case. The president, in fact, will await all the law enforcement authorities and what's supposed to happen there, and then get a clearer direction on what happens going forward, but hasn't had that conversation with Andre de Ruyter and doesn't know who these supposedly minister that said that people must eat is at this stage. But I want to take a listen then to Vincent Magwenya when he details what's happened around the Phala Phala report and, of course, that dismissal of it at the highest court in the land, the apex court, the Constitutional Court.
On the Constitutional Court judgment, we just need to make sure that we don't mix issues. That judgment is what I will call, deals with what I will call a procedural matter with respect to the President seeking direct access to the Constitutional Court. That judgment does not pronounce on the merits of the case. So you are now going into the actual substance of the matter. That judgment just says there is no case for the ConCourt to be petitioned directly. And I think we should put that into context and understand it. I've heard some of your colleagues saying it's a blow to the President. It's not a blow to the President. What will happen now, the legal team will convene and map the way forward and consider the options going forward. But it's not necessarily a blow, and it's not a judgment on the substance and merits of the case. It's just a procedural issue insofar as whether the President was correct in petitioning the ConCourt directly. Our view is that he was correct in doing so because the matter concerned a report that was seized with the conduct of the President, and our view was that the ConCourt was the right court to hear the matter. So I just want to make sure that we're clear on that and we don't confuse issues.
Aviwe, before I let you go, I just want to get a sense from you if you read this briefing in a similar fashion to me, in that the golden thread through that entire briefing, really, other than just the Constitutional Court matter, perhaps, was the ongoing power crisis, or electricity crisis. Perhaps that is what we should insist on calling it, because there's a power crisis in many other ways as well. There's so many moving parts. We've got the Durator issue. We've got the cabinet reshuffle, which of course speaks to an electricity minister that may or may not be appointed. And we just heard today that Eskom has admitted that it's working with the National Energy Regulator, South Africa, to prepare the blackout schedules beyond stage 8. I mean, this is, for want of the better phrase, this is sticky bum time when it comes to power in the country, both for individual South Africans and for the economy that really is hanging on by a thread. And I got the sense during that briefing that that is the golden thread throughout. The power crisis, the electricity crisis, is something that really is impacting in various decisions that's sitting on the President's desk right now.
However you look at it, it is the biggest crisis and, of course, the biggest issue that was delved upon here, even in the different facets of the conversations that we had inside here. Whether you look at the cabinet reshuffle itself, that would talk to the Minister of Electricity. Of course, that is the biggest burden to the growth of the economy itself, and it's the employment rate, of course, that is ailing. So it is one of the key issues, and it comes from a president that has even had to previously deal with it as the deputy president of the country. Various promises made throughout his presidency. We do know he had to come back, for example, back overseas back in 2019 when we first had stage 6. There was that crisis committee that was set up back in July last year. Now we're hearing the announcement of the Minister of Electricity, yet we're still undergoing high levels of the load shedding itself, the biggest burden. So we're told any day from now we can expect that announcement that will also detail who will be then chairing up that Ministry of Electricity. President, we do know, has already consulted with your tripartite alliance partners, your SACP, your COSATU, and they've had their various demands, but of course keeping mum as to the exact conversations that had with the President back on Friday. So it's a wait and see game now. We're basically waiting, all anticipating that eagerly awaited cabinet reshuffle.